All right, now we have another clip of Zohran Mamdani. I do not know what is in this clip. Let's see what it is.
You cannot be touching me as a Muslim woman.
Oh yeah, what is this? I remember this one. It's a woman freaking out. What's this about?
He's at a LGBT. You see the rainbow. He's
Okay.
speaking. You can't really see him, but he's way up at the front of the hall, and she's a Muslim woman yelling at him for being at the LGBT
Oh
celebration.
yeah. Isn't that what you would expect? Right? Wouldn't you expect? I mean, what would you expect from Muslims? Because you see what happens when they get into power. Like again, they'll work together until they take over a city, and then what happens? We saw it. We saw it at a town in Michigan, and then all these leftists worked their hardest to get a bunch of Muslims into power on the city council, and then they said, "Yeah, no more of this pride stuff." And what happened? All the leftists go, "What? Where's the gratitude? We worked so hard to get you into power, and now you just throw us all under the bus." That's what you would expect. But it's just weird, Robert. All the vast majority of Muslims, yeah. Go hard with all this LGBTQ stuff.
Well, they know they need the alliance.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, what beats me is, why is it that the LGBTQ people don't say, wait a minute, you're going to throw us off buildings. You know, why are we doing this? But nobody ever, of course, nobody confronts him there except the Muslim woman. All the leftists just sit there and say, isn't it great that he's here?
Mm-hmm. And so, language warning, guys. I remember getting this clip ready. So there is a language issue. So anyway, I didn't watch the entire clip. So you're saying this is a woman blasting Mamdani, not in the Zut sense,
Yes.
but blasting Mamdani for being with all the LGBTQ stuff.
Yep.
All right, let's check it out.
You cannot be touching me as a Muslim woman. Get off of me. You just witnessed that and you didn't do shit. You should be ashamed. In the Quran, it says that there will be hypocrites. Hypocrites who believe in Allah and say that they are Muslims. But you know what makes them different? They side with the oppressors. You cheer on AOC. AOC signed in support of the Iron Dome, and yet you glaze her. You praise her. You should be ashamed, you hypocrite. They are continued to be brutalized for protesting against genocide every single fucking day, protesting against graduations, and you still haven't said shit, but you will condemn direct actions against Zionist settlers. Have some damn shame. How do you pray every single day to Allah?
Notice also it's a church where all the gay stuff is.
Smart. Guys, whatever church that is, you guys are doing a bang up job. You're changing the world.
And of course, she's all exercised about Israel. And it's because AOC is not sufficiently anti-Israel, and he's palling around with AOC. And so that's what she's yelling about.
Yeah, his response to this lady should be, hey, quiet it down. Wait till I get in power. It's
I
only
don't think there is any response, if I recall, but anyway.
It's only temporary.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I mean, I've only seen some clips and so on, but he seems more diehard leftist who's using Islam than like Islamist who's using leftism.
That's what I say in the book, because every time he talks about what he wants to do as mayor, it's all this socialist communist stuff, like decommodify housing. That is, make it not a private matter, but a matter of government housing that everybody's forced to live in. When he talks about Islam, it's only when he's playing victim and saying he's been people have been so Islamophobic to him, or when he's claiming that like Cuomo is Islamophobic and has never visited a mosque.
Yep. So, guys, looks like Robert and I are thinking the same thing about this guy, because at the end of the day, Islam and socialism, especially the socialism that is just far left with the aligned with LGBTQ stuff and so on, these don't go together. they make very different claims about how to govern a state and so on. And so when you see someone who's a Muslim socialist or a Muslim communist or something like this, you should be thinking, okay, is this a Muslim who's using socialism or communism to dupe people and to get into power? Or is it a socialist communist who's using Islam for the votes? Seems like he's a serious believer in all the socialist commie nonsense he's spouting and using Islam because, as Robert pointed out, they'll vote as a block. So if you just go around to all the mosques, if you have between 750,000 and 1 million Muslims in New York, and you can get them to vote as one big block by going to some mosques and then saying, but where's my opponent? He's not in any of the mosques. That's all you need to do.
So one other consideration about that, though, and that is that he has said that it was the Palestinian issue that made him get into politics.
Mm.
And so he is clearly, that was actually when he first started to become politically active, was when he was in college and started a Students for Justice in Palestine chapter at Bowdoin College, which is in Maine. And he has said, well, you saw that earlier clip where he said we have to work for our overall goals. He didn't just say seizing the means of production, which is, of course, Marxism, but also BDS, which is divesting from Israel. And so he's very deeply concerned to support the jihad against Israel and said that that's what got him into politics. So the Muslim side, we shouldn't discount it. And I think that it wouldn't be in the least surprised it wouldn't be at all surprising if what you're saying about this clip is true and he stops with all this with the LGBTQ once he's elected and becomes more obviously and ostentatiously Islamic.
And I mean, if he does, I mean, that is the quickest way to block criticism among New Yorkers. You just, hey, look, so you can do all this crazy stuff, and then anyone who criticizes you, they're just criticizing you because you're Muslim. That's it. That's the only reason they're criticizing. You can actually be like destroying the city. Anyone who criticizes you, they're just criticizing me because I'm Muslim. It is the ultimate criticism blocker. But
he's already doing this.
Oh,
The guy's very slick. Cuomo had a flyer where they made him look scary in a picture, made Mamdani look scary. Now, David, I mean, I find political flyers kind of interesting to see how they're trying to sell their candidate. And it's a common thing on political flyers to make the other guy look bad. Mm-hmm. They get some picture of him looking stupid, silly expression on his face, or they manipulate the lighting so that he looks scary.
They do that in the videos, all the campaign videos and stuff like this. My opponent is basically the worst person in the universe. Look at this, all in black and white.
And so Cuomo did that, business as usual, standard flyer, and Mamdani cried Islamophobia, said, look, they lengthened my beard and made me look darker so I'd be more scary. It was all nonsense from beginning to end, but he made a big deal of it, got all the media on board, condemning Cuomo for Islamophobia.
Yeah, and he's been doing that sort of thing for a while, Robert. I think if he actually becomes mayor, there's one thing we can all be thankful for, and that's that his rap career is over. Because these were, guys, I'm not even joking or exaggerating. I've heard some terrible raps over the years, and this guy is hands down the worst. But his song Salam, that's where he declared his love for the Holy Land Five. Who are the Holy Land Five, Robert?
They are people who were facilitating the transfer of funds from the Holy Land Foundation, which was the largest Islamic charity in the United States, to Hamas. Mm-hmm. So actually, I heard recently about somebody's mom or grandmother, and she was a devout Catholic, and she thought, oh, the Holy Land Foundation, I want to give to the Holy Land. So she's given all this money to the Holy Land Foundation, not realizing it's a Hamas front. And so the Holy Land Five went to prison for funneling the charitable contributions to Hamas. Mamdani's praising them in the rap, and the rest of the rap is all about how terrible it is to be a Muslim in New York.
That's what I wanted to bring up.
Muslims suffer, which is a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, so he declares his love, but think about the progression, Robert. Think about the progression, because it's sort of like, and it encapsulates the overall approach. So that song starts off with him moaning and wailing about his poor aunt, who is so terrified of Islamophobes that she can't even leave her apartment in New York. She can't even ride the train because people, non-Muslims, will beat her up. They'll just beat her up. And so she has to live in fear her entire life, hiding in her apartment. It's like, dude, Mamdani, your dad is a professor at Columbia University. Your mom is a film producer, and you're about to be mayor of New York City, and you're complaining about how you're all victims in this horrible, horrible, oppressive, anti-Muslim country that you're in. It's weird that so many Muslims want to go to New York City when you can't even, you according to Zohran, you can't even walk out the door, and they just have to live in fear all their lives. But so he spends all this time portraying themselves as the victims. We're victims, we're victims, we're victims, we're victims, we're victims. I love the Holy Land Five. Why? Because you're all victims of oppression. So obviously you have to support the freedom fighters and so on. But also, now that you're bringing up your support for those who fund terrorism, no one can object, or they're just like the bullies who beat up your poor aunt. You don't want to be like the bullies who beat up this guy's aunt, do you? All right, then shut up when he's supporting terrorism.
There you go.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Are we learning yet, everyone? Because this is, I mean, you could actually just write down the plan, the script, and then just give it to people across the country, across any Western nation, and it'll work. It'll work a lot. It'll work a lot.
Oh, yeah. And they're doing it. That's what I was saying earlier. He's not the only one like this. And you got Omar Fateh in Minneapolis. There's going to be many more. And they're just following the same template.
Alhamdulillah, there are 1 million Muslims in this city. 200,000 of us are registered to vote as Democrats. In the last election, only 7% of us voted. Now, I will not blame anyone because often it feels like there isn't much to vote for. But this June 24th, with early voting starting tomorrow, it is an opportunity. An opportunity for us to show that Muslims don't just belong in New York City, we also belong in City Hall. Because yesterday I stood on the debate and Andrew Cuomo stood next to me. And here was a man who was the governor for a decade, and he could not name a single mosque he had ever visited. He could not name it because he does not care.
Yeah, but I care. That's why I'm here. I'm not here just to get in power. I'm here because I'm the one who cares.
There you go. But it's important to note that he is saying that they haven't been voting, and that it's because they have not had anything much to vote for. And this might seem to be puzzling in light of what we were saying before about how they vote as a bloc and you're going to get 100% of the Muslim vote if they tell them to vote for you. But that's the thing, that they have not actually had an election where there was a Muslim vote in a Muslim candidate and one that they told people to vote for. So most of them didn't vote. Some of them voted, and that was that. But if they all tell them to vote for Mamdani, they all go.
All right. Now we have another clip here.
The pressure, no matter the attacks, I will not move on those principles. And I tell you, brothers and sisters of this masjid, that we have an opportunity starting tomorrow for early voting.
You hear that? You hear that wind noise, ladies and gentlemen? That's a genius recording right next to a fan that's blowing around. Great job, guys. Great job. It's 101. If you're recording, don't be near the fan. I'll back it up. Anyway, just wanted people to be aware of that before they complain, what's the weird noise? I can't see it, but I guarantee there is a fan right beside this person. All right, here we go.
No matter the attacks, I will not move on those principles. And I tell you, brothers and sisters of this masjid, that we have an opportunity, starting tomorrow for early voting until Election Day on June 24th, an opportunity to show that New Yorkers want that consistency. They want those principles. They want a belief in humanity. And alhamdulillah, in this city we have 1 million Muslims. 200,000 of us are registered as Democrats. But in the last election, only 7% of us voted.
Now, we already heard from his last little speech that right now he's going to say, now, I get it. Sometimes it feels like there's not a lot to vote for. But now we've got a Muslim.
Yep.
Let's say.
That he's okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
I will not judge anyone in our community because often it feels like there's not much to vote for.
Shocker.
But this year we have an opportunity.
This guy memorized like a 2-minute speech and just runs around mosque to mosque to mosque to mosque to mosque.
Absolutely.
Wow.
But notice what he was saying before that New Yorkers are hungering for what the Muslims have. That the Muslims have to assume the position of teaching the New Yorkers the proper values. Well, isn't that exactly the supremacist Islamic political idea? That they rule and they teach what's right and wrong. Remember that when the Quran says you were the best of peoples on earth, in chapter 3, verse 110, it says then enjoining what is right and forbidding what is wrong. The Muslims are the best of people because they tell everybody else what's right and what's wrong. And so he's telling the Muslims, now's our chance to do that in New York City. And the New Yorkers want it.
And I mean, look at this. These guys look like pretty serious Muslims in here, not like liberal Muslims. And yet they've got the most pro-LGBTQ mayor candidate in all of history in their mosque. We should start making fun of all these guys in these mosques for supporting this. Like, I mean, you literally wrote the book on him, Robert, so you know about all his all the stuff he's been supporting and the stuff he's been calling for with legalizing prostitution. Well, I don't know. Maybe these guys would like that. I don't know.
Yeah, they wouldn't have any problem with that.
Yeah. You just gotta marry her for an hour while we're banging her.
Remember Anwar al-Awlaki.
Mm-hmm.
We have an opportunity. And I can tell you, I began this race at 1%, and today I am just 2% away from Andrew Cuomo. 2% away from City Hall. 2% away from making history. And that is why every day a new Republican billionaire puts $1 million into this race to attack me. But I know that I have something they do not have, which is the support of people across this city. So I ask you to tell everyone in your life that this election is here, to tell them what's on the ballot, and to tell them that we as Muslims deserve what every other community deserves: equality and respect. But we know that in this city and in this...
There's like 30 people in there recording this on their phones, and the one that circulates is the one with the guy right beside the fan.
That's why these people need to be in charge.
Yeah, they'll do a bang-up job running the city. All right, here we go.
We are not going to be given those things. We have to win those things.
And then he record himself, so we all know the dope are recorded right beside the fan. Why'd you do that, man? You would have been forever anonymous. We would never have known your terrible videography skills. And now I know. When I see you walking down the street, I'm going to be like, you're the dude that recorded by the fan, aren't you, huh? Yeah. All right, here we go.
We're not going to be given those things. We have to win those things.
Everyone see this guy? Hey, look, I got this big giant mosque here. So you know, it'd be a great place to record right beside the coolness of this fan. That's the best place to record. Find yourself a nice cool spot right beside the fan, and that way I'll be cool and everyone else will be hot, but I'll be cool and I'll get this great audio. All right.
Equality and respect. But we know that in this city and in this country, we are not going to be given those things. We have to win those things. And one way we win them is at the ballot box. So I ask you, when you go and vote, remember, It is our opportunity to show that Muslims don't just belong in New York City.
We belong in City Hall.
Belong in City Hall too. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Come on, you forgot you're in the mosque? You forgot you're in the masjid? What's going on here? Just one.
Alhamdulillah, the streets will flow with the blood of anyone who does not vote for Brother Mamdani.
But you notice he's going to win equality and respect at the ballot box.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the funny thing about respect, ordinarily respect is earned. People do something that other people think is admirable, and so they respect that person. What he's talking about is that they demand the respect. And this is something that we often hear from Muslim spokesmen, that they demand respect when they are behaving in a way that's completely not respectable. Killing people, victimizing innocent people, all the business with women, and then they say, and we demand respect. Well, cut all that out first, and then we'll see.
All right. Ready to hit this next clip?
Yes, sir.
Let's see what we got here.
Make sure that's affordable for all. And as it pertains to Israel and Palestine, that we have to ensure that there's peace. And that is the future that we have to fight for.
But you won't say that Hamas should lay down their arms and give up leadership in Gaza.
I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas and Israel beyond the question of justice and safety.
You all know he believes in global intifada.
Of course he doesn't.
Well, the thing about it is that he says, I don't have opinions about Hamas and Israel after he's been giving opinions about Israel, saying that Israel is committing genocide, Israel is doing all these terrible things. He's going to get Netanyahu arrested if he comes into New York, and then he doesn't have any opinions about Hamas. He won't say that Hamas should lay down its arms. It's very clear the man is pro-Hamas.
Well, to be fair, he did say he loves the Holy Land 5.
Yeah, there you go.